My name is Mark Sigworth. I'm the Executive Director of Boyce Thompson Arboretum State Park. Well, I think one of the unique things about us is we were established in 1924. So we're actually a very old garden, and so therefore we have a lot of mature specimens. One of the things I learned here is if a plant is really neat, it tends to be slow growing, and if it's slow growing, it tends to be expensive. So we have a lot of neat plants here.
This area is called Boojum Cove. We have planted about 23 boojums of all different sizes so far. Boojums, I don't know if most people realize this, they are actually related to the ocotillo that is native to the Sonoran Desert. There are about 9 species of plants in that family, and boojum is one of those, and it's one of the ones that is actually considered a succulent. Ocotillos are woody shrubs, not succulents as a lot of people think. As you can see, it's quite stunning back here. It's got a natural topography, and we are busy planting all kinds of plants from the Baja area. We have 2 palm species. We have the Mexican blue palm, Hesper palm, I think some people call it, which is the Brahia armata, and the Washingtonia robusta, which is the California fan palm.
What we try to do is we try not to hit you over the head with all the Latin names. We try to recreate different scenes from around the world. So when you actually go to our Australian area, you might think that you're in Australia. If you go to our South American area, you might think that you're in South America. Our Chihuahuan desert is very nice, and of course that would be more of your New Mexico, Texas type of desert.
The Chihuahua Desert is one of the 3 main deserts in the Southwest. The Chihuahua Desert receives most of its rain in the summertime. Sonoran is characterized by 2 wet seasons, one in the summer, our summer monsoons, and then a winter rainfall period. And then the Mojave receives most of their rain in the wintertime. One of the plants that you see a lot is the Texas Ranger, the leucophyllum. That plant is very interesting. It's got real nice silver foliage, different colors of flowers, white, lavender, and purple. And it's interesting because it's kind of called a barometer plant. The minute the pressure changes due to incoming rain, it'll burst into bloom. If you actually receive the rain, then you really get a spectacular flower show. Prickly pears are interesting because they form these pads, and you get, of course, the colorful fruit that is edible on many species. I think it's becoming more popular. I've seen a lot of articles on how nutritious the fruit is, and even the pads on some of the species are edible. You can slice them up, and they're actually quite tasty. Sometimes they pickle them, people roast them, and you can put them in your meals.
William Boyce Thompson, who we affectionately refer to as a colonel, built this house in 1924 as his winter home. He first saw this canyon when he came to inspect the mine he had purchased, which was a magma mine in the town of Superior. And he just fell in love with this area and the views. And he really didn't know what kind of trees to plant here in Arizona. So he went down to the University of Arizona and asked their head of plant sciences what he thought. Dr. Kreider, our first director, said, why don't you plant all 400 acres and create an arboretum? And I think the colonel thought that was a very good idea. He then went down to the Carnegie Desert Research Lab at Tumac Hill, and he asked them what work was being done in the desert. And actually very little research was being done on the arid lands of the world. And so he kind of put that together that this would be a great place to do that kind of research. So we started out in '24. We incorporated as a nonprofit in 1928. Really Arizona's first nonprofit, first research organization dedicated to the study of arid land plants of the world. We became the Desert Biology Center with the U of A back in 1965, and then State Parks became our 3rd partner in 1977. So we're not only part of the University of Arizona, part of the Arizona State Park system, but we're still established by our founding nonprofit in 1928. So this is actually a great place to grow plants from around the world, and that's one of the reasons the colonel chose it, because of the topography here. We have all these little microclimates, and so we can kind of look at a plant and see how it would grow best and actually find the place at the Arboretum where it would grow best. The garden changes every day. Every day I walk out there, there's a different flower, a different tree looking better than it did the day before, a different type of bird or lizard or snake. It's always a fascinating walk here. I just don't know what I'm going to find, but I know I'll find something special.